Hey everyone, you're about to meet the Trump stage jumper or stage rusher, as he is referred to on Twitter, Tommy DiMassimo, who is not a member of ISIS and is Southern Baptist, so he says in the CNN interview with Martin Savage. Have a look.
He has no regrets. The Secret Service stopped Thomas DiMassimo after he jumped a barricade at a Trump rally in Ohio. It made for this dramatic moment. Well, now the 22-year-old student is charged with disorderly conduct and inducing panic. He heads to court on Wednesday. CNN's Martin Savage sat down with DiMassimo and asked him, what was he thinking?
The dangers that exist in our country exist between Donald Trump and his people, and whether or not I show up at a rally and try to do something, you see that there is violence. There's violence when people just stand there and hold a sign. So the idea that they now feel like they're under attack is ironic and laughable, because they've been the ones who have been doing the actual attacking to other people. I in no way harmed anyone, intended to harm anyone. I'm not a member of ISIS. I have no known ties to ISIS. I've never been out of the country. I only speak English.
Christian?
Christian, yeah. I was raised Southern Baptist, and I went to a Baptist church all the way, to Thomas College.
Okay, so given that, what were you thinking?
I was thinking that Donald Trump is a bully, and he is nothing more than that. He is somebody who is just saying a lot of bold things. He's making bold claims, but I can see right through that, and I can see that he's truly just a coward, and he's opportunistic, and he's willing to destroy this country for power for himself.
All right, well, that's your motivation. But what were you thinking at that moment? Why did you do what you did?
I was thinking that I could get up on stage and take his podium away from him, and take his mic away from him, and send a message to all people out in the country who wouldn't consider themselves racist, who wouldn't consider themselves approving of what type of violence Donald Trump is allowing at his rallies, and send them a message that we can be strong, we can find our strength, and we can stand up against Donald Trump and against this new wave he's ushering in of truly just violent white supremacist ideas.
Were you, if you had made it to that stage, were you going to attack him?
No, not at all. There would have been no point. Donald Trump is 6'3". I'm 5'9", maybe. He's a giant man surrounded by thousands of followers, 12 Secret Service, and a former Ohio State offensive lineman. And that would have accomplished nothing.
But can you see how people might have perceived that you were?
Of course. And I wasn't expecting there to be as much Secret Service as there was there that day. From what I had sort of seen, there hadn't been that much in a contained area, so I thought my chances of getting up on stage and getting to the podium would have been better. But again, it was more important for me to show that there are people out there who aren't afraid of Donald Trump. He says scary things. He lets his people do scary things. He's threatened Mexico, Islam, you name it, and yet I'm unafraid. And if I can be unafraid enough to go take his podium away from him, then we all can be afraid enough to not let this man walk into the White House.
Did the thought ever cross your mind that you could be killed?
Yes.
That the Secret Service would shoot you or do something that might harm you greatly to stop you? Because you were perceived as a threat. I mean,
right.
You look at that video, looks like you're moving right on.
I mean, I would say that Secret Service is very well trained, and they were able to immediately assess that I had nothing in my hands to harm.
Did you have a weapon?
No, I mean, Secret Service had metal detectors that you had to go through to get into the event. You had to empty out all your pockets and put your stuff. You had to walk through a metal detector. So the idea that I somehow had a knife is ludicrous and untrue.
Interesting stuff there. That was Martin Savage speaking to the man who rushed the podium where Donald Trump.
That was well done by Martin Savage. Now, folks, I have to say this first of all. disagree with Donald Trump, definitely. But do not rush the stage at one of his rallies. You can do a lot better than that. I mean, for example, when there were protests against George W. Bush online, a number of people got together and engineered search in such a way that when you searched for George W. Bush, you came up with failed president or failure. Stuff like that. That's better than this kind of physical violence we're seeing, which to me is indicative of a less well-educated, less algorithmically oriented group. Now, everyone has a right to their message, but having said that,